Hey, welcome everyone. This is Mike from ZoZoStockWatch.com, and this is your Let's Get Ready for the Week Ahead, April 16th through April 20th, and we'll also have our stocks to watch list in this video also for Monday, the 16th of April. Let's go ahead and get right into it from courtesy of the Trade Exchange. Some news after the bell on Friday, NTEC, MBVX, both having some news after the bell on Friday. CALI also with some news after the bell on Friday. BMY, Bristol Myers, had a little pop there on Friday after the bell. Strategic collaboration to develop and commercialize companion diagnostics for Bristol Myers Squibb. So that came out, and then demonstrated superior survival benefit compared with chemotherapy. So some little news blurbs coming out from BMY. It did pop up in the after hours and then gave it back a little bit. NVCR data on tumor treating fields. So NVCR, some news after the bell there. Not much movement. Let's see. U.S. Treasury says no major trading partner has met legislative standards for currency manipulation. That came out after the bell. Let's see. We did have the attack on Syria over the weekend, and then Trump tweeted out, Syrian attack was perfectly executed and couldn't have achieved a better result. Mission accomplished for Donald Trump tweeting that out. As you know, there was an airstrike over the weekend in Syria by the United States. Great Britain and France. So we'll see how that's going to play out with the futures this evening. If you notice with the SPY, there was some weekend worry with the SPY after we had, popped up from the pre-market. Then it was basically straight down. We did get some buying through the midday, and then we sold off into the close. This is a 5-minute pre-post market chart of the SPY, and you see we sold off into the close there on the worries of Syria. And then so that did happen over the weekend, and so we'll see how the market's going to absorb that come the open on Monday, and we'll take a look at the overnight futures too. I'll give you the link for that. And then also after the bell, we had an S3 by GNW, an S3 by INFO. ORBC filed an S3, and SSW also filed a Form F3. All right, common shares, 40,000 Class A common shares for SSW. All right, so that's some news that came out over the weekend. Oh, by the way, Caesars Entertainment plan to open 2 Caesar Hotel and Beach Club in Dubai. So Caesars had some news. PTNR announced collaboration with Amazon Prime Video in Israel. PTNR, some news there. And GKSO files patent infringement lawsuit against Avantis Incorporated. So GKSO with some late-breaking weekend news there. So let's take a look at some of our economic information coming out for the week ahead, also courtesy of the Trade Exchange. This is a nifty calendar that they put together each week. You can see when the Fed speak is going to be coming up in the red. Also, the economic information for the United States is in gold, international in blue. 8:30, we have the Empire State Manufacturing. This is for Monday the 16th, 10 o'clock business inventories. Housing Market Index also at 10 o'clock. Fed speak, we do get some Fed speak at 1:15 p.m. Eastern time on Monday. So that's Monday. No major economic information coming out. We do get the beige book on Wednesday, so maybe a possible market mover there. But the main thing this week is, it's going to be geopolitical. You never know what the next tweet is going to be, so you have to stay on guard. Keep that TIVX up. Speaking of TIVX, we did get a final last trade in TIVX on Friday. As the market was moving down, we played TIVX coming up over my 55 EMA here. You see on the 5-minute chart, over 875, and we got a pop up to $9 and change. That was a final trade that we did on Friday as the market was coming down. But if you notice with the VIX, right, there really wasn't that much fear in the market. And I'll move to the daily. We'll get back into that in a second. But I just wanted to do this VIX. You notice we're back above 20 and we were moving down. So complacency coming back, even with the selling, even with that reversal on Friday, we did have complacency coming to the market, but felt pretty nice that we got a nice decent size move here in TIVX on Friday. Now, not the usual moves that we've been getting with the volatility, but nonetheless into the close on Friday we did get a nice move in the TIVX. All right, back to the economic information here. So a bunch of Fed speak coming out this week, as you can see in the red. Beige book on Wednesday. That's kind of the outstanding thing. Nat gas coming out on Thursday at 10:30. Oil coming out on Wednesday at 10:30. Petroleum oil status coming out on Wednesday this week. And so that's pretty much it. And then some more Fed speak on Friday. And like I said, you don't know what's going to come up with geopolitical news at any point, or what tweet is going to move the market. Also, we have the China trade still hanging out there, and North Korea. Add that to the mix. So Trump, Syria, China. And also we have earnings season. We had earnings season really start on Friday. We had a bunch of the banks come out Friday before the bell. JP Morgan, WFC, PNC, and Citigroup all came out Friday, and a lot of those banks popped, and then it was kind of a sell the news. But we were going into the weekend, so it could have been that weekend worry of if the missiles were going to be flying and what the reaction was going to be. So that might have had something to do with it. Now, as far as the earnings this week for the 16th, courtesy of Earnings Whisper, we have Bank America in the morning, JB Hunt in the morning, Monday before the open. Big name coming out Monday afternoon. Netflix will be coming out, so that will definitely be on watch. And then before the bell Tuesday, we have Goldman Sachs, Johnson Johnson. After the bell, we have IBM, UAL, United Airlines, CSX, a few names there. Abbott Labs on Wednesday before the bell. U.S. Bank Corp, American Express, Alcoa coming out Wednesday after the bell. Pier 1 Imports. And then on Thursday, we have, BB&T, another bank, KeyBank, also coming out, which leads us all into Friday with General Electric, P&G, Honeywell, Schlumberger, Waste Management. So a lot of earnings this week. A lot of eyes will be on Netflix, Goldman Sachs, Bank America, those big names to see how we start off the week with earnings. So once again, this is courtesy of the Earnings Whispers, and I'll leave it up for a moment so you can kind of take a screenshot if you like, and then we'll move on from there. So this was something that came out last week. I think it was Friday. The marijuana stocks were getting a nice pop. John Bonner, former GOP, wants to legalize weed. A couple of articles here. One from Forbes also. Bonner and Trump and cannabis. Oh my, big changes coming to legal marijuana. And so as you can imagine, there was a nice pop in a lot of the marijuana stocks. Now this is the marijuana ETF. So that was perking up on Friday. So this is one of the ETFs, 1.5 million shares. I don't normally trade the pink stocks, but a couple of these were popping on that news. You had weed.to. Now one that trades on the NASDAQ, Crone, also popped this year. And will be on watch. Bonner articles that I showed you and his comments on the marijuana stock. So those will be on watch. But let's take a look at some of the markets before we get into that. We got the SPY, kind of a reversal day here. The low on the SPY was 264.01, 264.01. So that was Friday's low. So we're going to have to keep an eye on that. A high was 267.54. So you can see on the SPY kind of a reversal there on Friday after those nice gains, then pulled back. We are still below the 50 SMA on the daily chart here on the SPY. So we'll go through some other markets real fast. The IWM. Now it's above all the moving averages, so good strength there. If we look at it on the weekly, we are trying to get back above the 10 SMA. So in the small caps, some good action there. In the micro caps, the IWC also getting back above the 10 SMA on the weekly chart. If we look at it on the daily, we are above all the moving averages, back above the 50 SMA for the IWC. But you could say kind of an engulfing candle pullback here from Friday. Once again, I'm going to attribute that to weekend worries, and now we're off to a fresh week with earnings coming up. So we'll see how this Monday and Tuesday are going to play out. Those banks reversed hard on their earnings, kind of a sell the news after they popped up. Then they pulled back. Even the XLF had reversed, still stuck under the 50 SMA on the XLF. The IBB. Still looking very weak. Not a great looking chart here. Underneath the 200 SMA on the IBB, the biotechs. The XBI actually looks better, holding above the 200 SMA, but still struggling to get over the 50 SMA on the XBI. So that's a few markets for you. We'll also take a look at the SMH rate. The SMH also with that reversal on Friday, back below the 50 SMA. On that, we'll look at it on the weekly chart. Couldn't get back above and hold above the 10 SMA on the weekly chart here, the light blue line you see there. So, names like NVIDIA is one of the leaders in the semiconductor space. You see here it's below the 50 SMA on the weekly chart, stuck below our 10 SMA. Let's check out Intel, which is the largest holding in the SMH, holding above the 10 SMA. So that's a good sign for the SMH and Intel. But we did have that reversal candle there on Friday as we came up to resistance around that 53.25 spot on Intel. ETFs, Hack still holding up strong, holding above the 5 EMA, the yellow line you see there on HACK. TAN a little bit sloppy, trying to hold above the 50 SMA. Names like FSLR, First Solar, has been trying to break above this 7250 area. So far hasn't been able to do that. Sedge has been very strong, an Israeli solar stock, was on a big run, now kind of in this consolidation move, but still holding up above the 50 SMA. RUN, which was a very strong solar stock, now pulling back. So keep your eye on that one, maybe for a continuation move in RUN if it wants to turn around. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of the major stocks, and then we'll get into stocks to watch. Apple, holding above this 50 SMA, but struggling with that 175, 176 area on Apple. Amazon on the daily, trying to get back over the 50 SMA, kind of in this consolidation. I mean, it's had a huge run, Amazon. We're just kind of consolidating. We haven't given much back of this run, so still very strong, Amazon. Netflix, which has earnings after the bell on Monday, has been in a nice move up off of this 270 area. Nice return back above the 50, back above the fast moving averages. If we look at it on the weekly chart, you see we're above the 10 SMA on the weekly chart for Netflix. Let's see, what else do we want to look at? We'll look at the steels, XLX, trying to get back over the 50 SMA, but a lot of sloppy charts right now. US Steel, AKS, Nucor, all looking pretty similar, back below their 50 SMAs after those runs on the tariff talk, then gave it back. Now kind of consolidating on those steels. Alcoa was very strong. If we look at it on the weekly, it was up 14% for the week on Alcoa. Now, a sympathy play. Now, this has earnings coming up later in the week this week, Alcoa. But a sympathy play to Alcoa is CENX. And we actually traded this one Monday last week and we got a nice $1 gain. Then it came up to the 50 SMA and pulled back. So, but I'll have a CENX on watch again this week if it wants to make a sympathy move again with Alcoa. So Alcoa, like I said, was up 14% last week. So maybe CENX wants to follow that again. Next up, we'll take a look at some of the stocks in the Dow. Caterpillar, with all the China tariffs, a lot of backing and forthing in Caterpillar, but overall holding up okay, but still below the 100 SMA on the daily chart. Let's look at it on the weekly, trying to get it back above the 10 SMA on the weekly. Let's see, Boeing, another one affected by the China tariff talk, still stuck below the 10 SMA on Boeing, still stuck below the 50 SMA on the daily chart for Boeing. Let's see, we'll take a look at Twitter. With Facebook, with all those problems with Facebook and Zuckerberg in front of Congress last week. Facebook kind of looks like a bear flag here, and Twitter, you'd kind of have to say the same thing. It is holding above the 10 SMA, but it started to roll back over, and we're back over below the 20 SMA here on Twitter. So if you're a bull, you'd like to see this one getting back over $30 a share in a hurry on Twitter, TWTR. Some of the China names that took a hit. SOHU was down this week, and SINA down. Baba was also down this week, and Baidu. A lot of the China names, basically, the charts look the same, kind of these bearish kind of flags on these names. Even Momo rolling over here on MOMO. So that's a look at some stocks for the week, and then we'll go ahead and get into our other sectors. We had OIH, which was very strong this week. The OIH plus 10% on the OIH. We happen to be in MRO, and we are in the OIH. We do a swing trade service too at Zozo Stock Watch, and we are in the OIH. And we are in MRO. So some nice oil continuation moves here. USO was up 8.3% for the week on the oil. Oil itself, XOIL, light sweet crude, WTI, almost back up to $68 a barrel on XOIL. We held that 60 area, we held the 62 area, and then when all that trouble starting in the Middle East with Syria and whatnot, we got big moves in oil. Now, this is moving up gas prices at the pump, all right? So I don't know if that's going to slow the economy down if oil keeps moving up like this. I don't know what the average price of gas is where you live, but that might start affecting the purse strings of Americans there as gas becomes more expensive now, and we'll have to get used to that again. So oil moving up, USO moving up, a lot of the stocks in the OIH, Schlumberger, Halliburton, Rig having a very nice week on Rig on the weekly, up over 19% for the week on Rig, RIG. So very nice moves there in oil stocks. Some other sectors we could take a look at. Gold, a nice move up here, but retraced back from that 129 spot. But we are holding above the 50 SMA, that blue line there. So we'll see if there's any more push in gold. GDXJ, the junior gold miners, back above the 200 SMA. JNUG on the daily chart, still below the 200 SMA, but above the 50 SMA for JNUG. Also, we'll look at GDX. Back above the 200 SMA on the GDX. Silver itself still below that 1575 spot, still below 200 SMA on silver. Some names past Pan American Silver trying to make a nice move up. WPM also turning the corner here on WPM. Other stocks in that sector, SAND. In the gold sector, we have SAND, we have GG. That daily looking better, staying under that 1450 level though. Keep an eye on that 1450 and that recent high on GG. NEM. also making a nice move up. So this is what I think maybe GG will want to do if it gets over the highs. So keep an eye on GG gold stock. KL also holding up very well. SAND, trying to get back above the 50 and the 10 SMA here. Actually is back above the 50 SMA, sorry, but has that 480 spot. The highs on Friday, $4.81. So keep an eye on that 485 if they want to get this gold stock moving up, SAND. All right, so that's some of the sectors. Let's look at the IBB, which was a little bit weak, and the XBI being a little stronger than the IBB. But some names in those sectors is Celgene, still below the 50 SMA. Amgen, still having trouble there at the 20 SMA. GILD, GILD, also below the 200 SMA. BIIB, also below the 20 SMA, the 50, the 200. So very ugly looking charts here in that sector. REGN also below the 50 SMA on REGN. So very bearish looking charts there. Now if we look at SRPT, right, this one holding up and very strong. So SRPT, haven't looked at blue lately. Blue below the 50 SMA on blue. All right, so that's some of your biotech names. You know what was up this week also? We saw a pop on Friday in Nat Gas. UNG was moving up. So Nat Gas maybe starting to come off the bottom here. We'll keep an eye on it. Back above the 50 SMA on UNG, or you can take a look at UGAS starting to get back above the 50 SMA. This one gives you a little bit better moves, a little more volatile than UNG. All right, so that's some of the sectors and stocks that I wanted to look at. Now, the Dow for the week was up 2%. The NASDAQ was up 3%. USO up 8%. Oil was up 9%. But on Friday, they fell. The SPY dropped 0.29%. The Dow down 0.50%. The Qs were down 0.84%. And the XLF dropped 1.51% on Friday. So even though the markets were up this week, Friday was a little bit rough on the markets, and we did have that weekend fear setting up. So let's go ahead and take a look at the 16th of April, ARGS. As you can see, it was just under 1 million shares, starting to try to turn the corner here, still below the 50 SMA. We had a high here of $1.11, so I'll be watching this one for intraday trade on ARGS. Now, once again, at my service, I am a day trader and a swing trader, so we do day trading and swing trading. Last week, like I said, we were swing trading. We got quite a few oil trades, and we also do day trading throughout the day. So ARGS will be on my watch for Monday. ARQL, now this one was popping Friday in the after hours, so nice move up there. So ARQL will be on my watch if we can get that breakthrough 3 on ARQL, you see it was trading at 297 after hours on Friday. Next one up will be BLCM. I'll have this one on watch. BLCM. Now this one was up. We had some news that BLCM shares closed. They closed up this week. The news was released after hours Wednesday that the FDA lifted the clinical hold. So that got this BLCM moving up, a biotech name. So I'll be watching this one intraday. You see the 200 SMA is right above there, and that is at 924. And we had nice volume come into the stock, BLCM. So this will be on watch. And we did actually trade this a couple of times last week. So I'll be looking to day trade this, intraday trade this this week also. Now, Cake, CAKE, possible swing trade in this name if it can get back over 53. The daily has been holding up pretty nice bounce off of the 10 SMA. So if this Cake can get up over $53, one to watch for possible swing trade. Next one up, we'll take a look at CRON because of that marijuana news that I showed you earlier in the video. We're just under the 50 SMA at 753, so this one will be on watch. MJ, the ETF, will also be on watch this week for maybe a possible swing trade in MJ here, this ETF marijuana. Now, this covers GWPH is in this name, and also a lot of over-the-counter marijuana stocks. So I'll be definitely watching MJ. Another name that I'll be watching for the week ahead, I think I'll take a look at FANG, all right, with oil. This one kind of been a laggard. So if this one maybe wants to turn the corner, possible swing trade in Diamondback Energy, FANG. Another one that I'll be watching is GG, as I mentioned in the other segment. As far as gold stocks go, Groupon had option call activity, GRPN. 8 million shares came into Groupon on Friday. Nice pop, hit the 50 SMA, retraced back from that a little bit. So this one will be on watch. Also, I think John Nigerian mentioned this one on Friday on halftime report on CNBC. HEAR also will be on watch, trying to get through and see if it can break through this $4 level. You see the volume that came in on HEAR. Another one, possible swing trade I'll be watching is Grub, as we had a very strong stock pulling back, holding the 50 SMA. If this can get back over, like 98 bucks, it might be worth a shot. 98.50 or so might be worth a shot for a possible swing trade to reverse back up. Another stock that I'm going to have on watch is HMNY. Now, this more for intraday trading. 10 million shares came into this name on Friday. I think Verizon has a position, a stake in HMNY. I believe that was the news. And 10 million shares came in. Nice pop on Friday, so we'll keep an eye on HMNY. IPWR. 1.4 million shares came into this name on Friday, so we'll see if this one wants to turn back up. A lot of eyes on social media watching this one. LGCY been basing now. We have a previous high, LGCY. This is an oil name at 543, so maybe over 543 we get a continuation move. LGCY. There's been a lot of insider purchases in LGCY also, so that'll be on watch. NETE. Will be on watch. You see we're kind of basing below this $10 area. We had a nice pop. Big volume came in on Friday, and the last couple of days, 4 million shares showed up on Friday, NETE, so that'll be on watch. NTNX, nice daily here, holding up through all the selling in the market. This one right over that, maybe right over that 54 level, excuse me. We might get an entry in for a possible swing trade on STNX. SEAS had 2.2 million shares traded in SEAS, trying to get back over that 16 area, so possible entry on this one. And then a restaurant stock also, Texas Roadhouse, possible swing trade in this name, holding up nicely, moving up, so Cake and TXRH, looking good here. Maybe this one for a possible swing in this name. Let's see, were there any other names as far as stocks? I'll be watching CBay. We did an intraday trade on this one. We made almost $1 intraday on CBay last week, so I'll have this one on watch again. Also, IDRA coming up off the bottom. Volume a little bit light for me, but it is getting above the 10 and starting to turn the corner here on IDRA. And then lastly, let me see if there was anything else. Oh yeah, lastly was DVN. All right, Devon Energy Corporation. It's kind of in this base here, under $34 on DVN. So I'll have this one on watch, see if it wants to play catch up to the rest of the oil sector. All right, so that's it. That's your stocks to watch list for Monday, the 16th, and that's also your let's get ready for the week ahead. You have more information now, so you better be more ready for the week ahead. Thanks very much for listening. This is Mike from ZoZoStockWatch.com. Come check out my service and have a great night, everybody. Good week trading. Each night we do a stocks to watch video, so stay tuned for the next video coming out. Have a great night.